Shut up and sit down.
Welcome to the Bricks King podcast, where I'm going to bend your ear about Lego, review those amazing bricks of plastic, and discuss what is new and up and coming around the Lego world. I'm your minifig host, Matt. Let's build on it. Welcome in, everybody. Hopefully you are doing well. I know you're doing well. If you're not, you will be. After this little bit of greatness, I promise that you 100% will be. So finally today, we are talking about the new Lego Natural History Museum Icons modular set to round basically out the end of the year. You know, it's a big deal. It's a big bang to the end of the year for a lot of things, especially in the Lego world this year. So this thing, if you don't recall from the breaking news segment or first time, this thing has 4,014 pieces. 10326 is the set number. It's going to retail. Well, you can get it right now, actually. You can pre-order it right now. It'll be sent out December 1st, or you can try and fight the lines and get it on December 1st. Either way, it will be available December 1st for $300, 300 euros, and obviously British pounds is just slightly less than that. So let's talk about it, shall we? Probably one of the cooler modular builds I've done in a long time. Last year, the Jazz Club was not horrible. I say last year, it was this year. It was in January. The modular Jazz Club was not that bad. It's not as if it was a glorious, deep dive back into the modular stuff. It had its own things. This definitely beats all expectations for modulars moving forward. It is the largest modular set to date. So what has it got inside? Well, it's got a lot of cool stuff inside, and we'll talk about that. But we got to talk about what's on the outside first, because when you first meet somebody or come across something, you see the outside first. And sometimes you're like, yeah, I'm going to fall in love with this, or I'm not. And then you have the old adage of, well, you can't judge a book by its cover. Well, sometimes you can. And this one, you can judge because you're going to like the story that goes with it. So one of the most incredible things that you notice about this set after it's built, it's in front of your face, are the columns that are built that rise 2 stories, Lego stories, of this incredible building, and how it frames the front of it. And you really get that size, the expectation of size based on those columns. Now, there are some other things, you might like, oh, well, that kind of looks a little weird in comparison, but the sheer size of it just captures you right there. And it gives you that I'm walking into a historic place. I'm walking into a big time deal. Could be like a big museum. It could be like some kind of presidential palace or something like that. It just gives the idea that there's importance here. There's a history here. It's really, really well done. So you have the columns, nice little detail that they have there. On the left side of this, you have the left and the right side are identical as far as windows and everything like that. But what they did is created more texture on this building than I want to say the Jazz Club and modulars in the past have not had horrible texture to the outside of the building. It's just done in a whole different way here. And I think you kind of have to go that way, especially when you're talking about a natural history museum in general. So you have some little columns that are built around the double 2 tall windows, 2 tall meaning 2 windows tall. And so you have that on each side, but you have one that is recessed and one that is sticking a little further out. Up on the second floor here, this is on the left side, by the way, you have your spots where you've got your little window cleaner guy. And this is one of those things that was kind of weird because you get the size, like you feel the size of the museum through the columns, like I said. And then you kind of have this little guy here on the window washing mechanism, and it kind of throws the scale out the door a little bit as far as, what I'm envisioning in its grandiose way in my mind. This should be much taller and that guy should look much smaller. However, it still works. Next to him, you have, mind you, no stickers, right? but we do have these little plastic pieces that hang on each side of the columns here, and they're just supposed to be banners. Explore the future, and it's got, about the planets on it, and then the one on the right side, which we'll get to, has go back in time with the dinosaur, the Brachiosaurus. Anyway, so the windows are nice. You have some textured bricks, the standard ones here. You have some tiles that are put horizontally to be able to give kind of that, again, that feel, that nice sculpt into the stone of the side of the building, which is nice. You have some plants that are down here in the bottom. A nice, I gotta say, the fence along the walkway, along the sidewalk, was probably my least favorite thing to do. It tore my fingers apart because you're literally sticking these kind of weird looking arrows. I guess you could call them, I'm gonna call it an arrow, into 1x2 and 1x3 plates that have the holes in them to create, this fence, this wrought iron fence. And it just, so painful just to do that over and over and over. We have a mailbox down here. There's a letter that's on a bench, some birds eating on a cookie. I did forget to mention this, and I'll mention it right now. You do have two statues, one on the left, one on the right. The one on the left is of an older gentleman. This is all gray done, by the way. So you have that statue. You have one on the right of a female. So that's kind of cool to have those. We've seen it in other Lego sets, and I always appreciate when they do them. They just had a different feel to it in general. There's also some cherry blossom leaves that have fallen on the ground because fall is coming. You have a cherry blossom tree that is on the right. So let's move to the right here. Windows are done the same, like I said, but more foliage and stuff that's going on. You've got your standard, typical light post here for your modulars. This one is in white. But one of the things that I found really kind of unique, aside from the columns, was you get this grand entrance when you walk into this build. You have your museum sign that is just above the doors and stuff, and the double doors that open. By the way, my double doors are not tight. They actually come open on their own if you adjust where, how you position this, I guess you could say, so that it's at a slight angle. I noticed it when I was building it. They were just kind of slightly sliding open. I thought that was a little bizarre, but it is what it is. But anyway, so when you get ready to walk in, you get this feel of like you're getting ready to cross that threshold. If you've ever gone to a museum and it's something that you are super passionate about or very excited about, science for me in general, I love anything like that. History, you walk in and you just get this feeling that comes over you, this not a literal chill, but this metaphorical chill that comes over you. You're kind of like, oh my God, we're here. We're going to do this. We're going to see this skeleton. We're going to see this. We're going to learn this. And not everybody's like that. I get that. But I thought it was, that's this very beginning, walking in through the doors is what it made me feel. And that's an interesting thing that a toy can make you feel. It can put you back in a headspace to where maybe you have gone through something like this in the past. You've been to a museum or you've seen a museum that has had dinosaurs in it. And it gives you that nostalgia. And I always talk about nostalgia and it just hits. But it's really cool in the way that is done. So I'm going to spin this puppy around. Not a whole lot on the sides, but in the back, what we do have, we have a little trash can outside that has a dog bone in it. And of course there's a little pug dog that comes with us. You have an exterior door, an exit door out on the back side. And then the very last thing that you have this water drainage pipe that runs from the roof the entire way down to ground level, to the street, to whatever. And there's some clear tiles down here make it look like water. And then there's a plant. There's a plant growing here because Mother Nature, that's just the way Mother Nature is, man. They always find, oh God, I'm going to be so cliche right now. They've always find a way. That is not what I meant to do. All the Jurassic fans out there are going to be like, he said it. Oh, he said it. I knew it. It's not what I meant. So let's go ahead and crack the roof off of this, crack some of the other levels off, and talk about the groundbreaking entrance. So now that we have the roof off, we get to see kind of everything that is going on inside. That is super duper important. We need to be able to get to things and enjoy these things. And Man, do I ever enjoy these things so much. These little modular details. I just wish that I could shrink down to a minifig scale and just get in there. It's just so neat. So stinking neat. So one of the things that are here on this modular that you will never, ever, 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 ever get to see again, unless you so choose to put in a door in the floor, which somebody had suggested to me. However, there are dinosaur boars. That's what I was going to say. There are dinosaur bones in the floor in the main central lobby underneath. And it's one of those little things that Lego does this a few times here and there with their modulars or some of the other buildings, and they just stick things in there and they hide them and you can't ever get back to them. And it sucks. One of them that I can remember is it was a few years ago and they had the cheese. They had the cheese down in the basement, just a little tiny little crawl space. It's like, that is such an overrated little tiny stupid detail. I know it's stupid, but it's so enjoyable. So when you walk in, you walk through that entrance, you feel the importance of this thing, and you have your little counter here. You could buy some stuff. There's some things there are here, souvenirs that you could buy, little old time cash register that they have going on here. And then obviously you have your attendant. Now, just to the rear of that, you have, and I'm going to mention it now because you have to take a section away to be able to get to it. So you have a wall section just directly behind it, has some shelving here, and it's just got more stuff that you could buy. It's got a magnifying glass as well. That wall section can be removed, and it can be removed for two reasons. You can get to the restroom, which is on the left side of this section, or if you want to be on the right side of the wall, you have your little lab with your bowl and your microscope and stuff like that to be able to do what you need there. Now, the section that I took out, the restroom section has a little shelf, has 2 rolls of toilet paper there, toilet tissue, whatever you want to call it. And the side with where the lab is, you've got 2 bones that are on the wall, and then you have a wall clock. And that is where the door to the exterior in the rear leads to. So that is how you get in and out of there if you would like. So you can just remove that wall. It's only held on by 2 studs, pop it in, pop it out, and you're done. So let's talk about if we move to the right of the main lobby. If you move to the right, you step down into the flooring, I guess you could say, into the next section here. This is where your Brachiosaurus is. Really cool design usage here with the pieces and stuff. Some things that I haven't seen before. We've done a dinosaur skeleton a time or two. It's nothing wild or new, but it is nice in the way that it is done. Use some white bananas here, some minifig posing stands are used in here. And of course you have a bunch of little odds and ends to be able to get the maneuverability of the neck and the tail and the legs. And the cool thing about this is this entire thing can actually come out if you wanted to. You don't have to leave it in there. You can take it out and display it if you want or whatnot. Now in this section, you also have an area right here on the one wall, and it has 2 different colored eggs here that are sitting in egg nests. You know, obviously we're talking about dinosaurs. You have a little under glass piece of dinosaur doo-doo that is, you know, like some kind of fossilized dinosaur crap. How wonderful. And then you've got some other things that are back here. One of them I really love. It's the saber-toothed tiger head. I thought that was so neat. And then you have this other kind of little fossil deal going on back here with a, oh my goodness, the whip that is not, that is wound up, that we saw with like Indiana Jones and we've seen with some other things. Now, the door to the lab is also in this section as well. And above that, they have just a 1x2 red ingot tile to let you know, hey, it's in use or you can't come in or whatnot. So I kind of like that. That's neat. Now, if we go to the left of the main lobby, what we get into is some more artifacts and such that we have that are of significance, you know, and highly important, obviously. So we have some pottery here. We have pottery stands, and on the pottery stand that we have here, well, we don't have anything. There are pieces on the floor because somebody has knocked it over and broken it. I love the way that was done. You'd never want to see that, obviously, but it's kind of cute. It's interesting. Just little quarter rounds that are on the floor. And then you have the actual vase or vase or whatever across the way that is still left. It is not like the counterpart that is now broken. So then you have a few other things that are in here. You've got some things that are found down in the earth. It looks like one is a stalactite or stalagmite. I'm not sure which they are going for here, or maybe both. You got some kind of gem, some kind of crystal formation that we've got going on. And then they actually have the, what was this? It's supposed to be all the layers of the crust, I believe, of the earth. And you have that mural put up on the wall. I thought that was kind of cool as well. Just some tiles and stuff. So before we go to the next level, I have to touch on this because this was one of my favorite building techniques, I guess you could call it here, that I've seen in stairs forever. I honestly have never seen anything this cool in my life as far as stairs goes. And you're like, it's just stairs. We just shut up about it already? No. It's really cool. So what they did, you don't just have solid stair piece or brick built stairs so much. They're obviously brick built, but in a different way. So you kind of build this central hub, I guess you could call it. And you have, some modified 1x2 plates that have the little bar that sticks out the side and then sticks up. And it gives you that 90-degree angle. Well, you put a couple pieces on top of there, and then you extend with these long railings. Okay? Easy, right? Then what they do for the stairs, because all of this is clipped into place by just two little clips that are holding this entire assembly so that the stairs can move up and down. If you want to get to the bench underneath, you can get to the bench underneath and put a minifig. The interesting thing is they actually use these, I guess I've really only ever seen them as roofing tiles. They're triangular. These are of the nougat color, and they are 2x2 and 1x2, but they're triangular. Okay. How is the best way I can describe this? Let me think about this. They are more of like a 3D shape. If you think of a Lego plate as just like 2D, I know that sounds really dumb, but if you think of it as more of like a 2D plane, I'm not doing this justice. Think of this piece as more of a 3D plane. As it's sticking up, it has more depth to it, maybe, is a good way of trying to understand it. Anyway, so you have these, and they alternate them. You have the 2x2, you have the 1x2, you have the 2x2, and they go the whole way up. And you have your stairs built just like that. And they do this throughout the building, and I love it. It is such a unique way of accomplishing it. It's a new way. Every time, honestly, every single time they go ahead and do a modular, the first thing I'm looking at is, how did they do the stairs? I want to know how you did the stairs. How did you do the entry to the building? This entry is different. I just want to know that stuff because it's always a design challenge. You don't want them to do the same thing over and over and over. You don't want repetition. I want repetition in modulars being made. I don't want repetition in modulars having the same stairs or the same building techniques of this, that, or the other. So that's going to take us up to the second floor. What's on the second floor? Before we move any further into this natural history beauty, we've got to take a quick break. We'll be back in a moment. So the second floor, you enter in. I'm tripping over words. I'm so excited. Probably didn't help that I haven't had anything to eat. My blood sugar's all over the place. However, you step into this little next lobby area and you have the trajectory of a rocket on the wall, a brick built trajectory, super well done. It's supposed to be like if you were looking down at the earth of what it would look like is flat, obviously. So that is kind of neat. You have another little rocket, a little brick built rocket here, on its launch pad, ready to go, saying, hey, this is the deep flight kind of thing. I cannot remember specifically because it was in the instruction booklet. I don't want to ruin it for you guys. I want you to enjoy it as much as I did. All of those little interesting little tidbits that are in there. It's super cool. You love getting a history lesson when you're building Lego. Who doesn't? I do. But also in this section, we have the solar system. Our solar system. Well, Earth's solar system. Some of you may not live here. And I don't know if you believe there are other things out there in the universe, in the vastness of space, other beings, maybe they'll hear this one day. I, me, I live on Earth. So this is my solar system. Okay. Now that we've established that. So you have this really unique little build. And this was one of my favorite things in the press photos that we got. I was enamored by the way that it was done. And I was looking at specific pieces. I was like, oh, that's how they did that. Oh, okay. I get that. So essentially all they did was take a big steering wheel that they would use in like an Icon's vehicle, right? Like the Corvette or something like that. Take that. You have your sun in the middle with all of these little bald type pieces, not like bald, like missing hair, but like balled up type Lego pieces. So you have that. And then you have the two small planets that revolve around, I think it's, yes. Now I'm not 100% sure. Anyway, so they have microphones here that are used for the other planets that are revolving around the sun, closest to the sun. You can see Saturn here. It's got orange and it's got that little ring around it. It is so neat in the way that that is done. And then you have Earth. And I believe, I don't know if this is supposed to be the moon or what, because obviously they're trying to show you the planets that are furthest out and stuff like that. Now, I'm going to go ahead and sound really dumb, but I'm pretty sure this is what it is. This aqua color that they have chosen to use here for Earth. And then they use a minifig head. It's not in gray. It's like an off gray mixed with like a tan. Anyway, that is what the moon, I'm assuming the moon is supposed to be here. So that was really neat. So again, you came up the stairs. We entered into this central lobby. We're looking from the rear towards the front. So if you're like, where are we going now? So we enter into this unique history of Lego. Of course, you know, they had to throw something in there. And they have 3 models here that are built. And one is of a ship. One is of like I guess you could say like a kind of a weird looking tree house is what it almost reminded me of. Like a birdhouse to a certain degree, but it's it's not a castle, but it's more like a tree themed related. Anyway. And then we have a yellow castle, and all of these are recognizable. So these come from the 3 major original themes. Everything was original to Lego originally. Stop saying original. But above them, they have the hats or the headgear, whatever, that they are wearing in those themes. The pirates, they've got on little pirate hat, no feather in this one. You have your Robin Hood hat, the little green one here. It's got a white feather in it. And then you have your metal helmet that the castle people were wearing. So that is kind of neat. And I thought that was really, really cool. Just tiny little builds. These are the kind of tiny little builds that I enjoy from time to time, not all the time. We also have a giant anchor that is hanging on the wall. This is above the open area below where the Brachiosaurus is. So you have this open area on each side. On the opposite side, let's kick back over to there. And the reason I wanted to start on the side that I did is because we have to go back up the stairs on the other side again. So what we have here is, again, you have a big open area down below, to the area down below, I should say. But you have this kind of a telescope little dealio that is hanging on the wall. We have what is supposed to be like a moon rock, which is really kind of cool in the way that it is done. It is tedious, but it is cool in the way that it is done. And then we have some space related things here. We have a spaceship, we have a moon rover, and then we have like a little command facility. And obviously, you know, that goes back to classic space without a doubt, without a doubt. So then after that, we have another set of stairs. It's done the exact same way. The only difference here is the average little dude, the average pedestrian, the average museum goer is not allowed to go up there, believe it or not. They have to wait. They are not allowed to go, or they can't even wait. They could stand there and wait. But it is for the curators. The curator of the museum, his office is on the next floor. And you're like, well, we're done. There's nothing up there. It's the roof. There's always something. So anyway, you take the stairs to the roof area. What do you think you're going to find? What you find is that you open the door and you are on the roof. This door opens up onto the roof, not into the roof. It is embedded into the roof. You open up, you are on top of the building here. And then there's really nowhere to go. Not really anywhere to go whatsoever. Obviously, there's a little bit of a walking path, and this just allows the curator to go from there. There's a telescope that is on the roof, by the way, so that you can see. But it allows you, or him, or her, to go to their little office. Now, the cool thing about this was a really kind of unique build, especially with all the windows here, which, God, it was so tedious to put all those pieces of glass in there. Anyway, so there's a door here that leads to his office. You can remove that section so that you can get access to actually see what is inside of there, which we'll talk about here in a second. So that's nice. That's only held on by 2 studs and just kind of easily put into place. So inside of his little office area that he's got here, he's got a typewriter, he's got some scrolls, he's got a compass, he's got some kind of plant under glass, he's got some books, got some what are, I guess, supposed to be bookends. They're the micro scale minifig of the gold color here. He's got his little lamp and he's got a map. Now, part of me is like, if you like messing about and like, I'm going to come up with this cool idea and, you could create a build off of this, right? Go into that creative space. You're like, you know what? There's a map there and I'm going to go on this fantasy adventure and creating something else. Hey, the curator, maybe the museum got robbed. No, I'm not, promoting violence and theft and stuff like that. I'm coming up with a story. And, maybe the museum gets robbed and they take the map and then, you create a build off of that. I mean, this is just me being 8 years old inside. Not sorry. Anyway, really cool little area that you have here. It does have a window to the ceiling to the outside above his office that opens, just a little glass piece there. The roof in general was a unique kind of build. It was done in a way that I wasn't really expecting. And believe it or not, you actually kind of lock your windows in, these little curved windows that are on top, on this black window area. You lock them in a brick built way because they're built, up and down, but they're laying horizontally and they're not even attached. They're just locked into place just by the structure in general. And we've seen that in a few different ways, but I like the way that was done. Really like the way that was done. That is essentially your second modular for 2023. And the funny thing is, I'm just in love with it. There's just something about it. And I just knocked a chair loose here that I'm just absolutely in love with. It was a fun build. It was a unique build. It has the size. It has all of the little things that check a box for me, especially when it comes to a museum. Now, some people are going to say, well, there's not enough here. Maybe you could make that argument to a certain degree, but I'd rather not have everything jammed into some tiny little space. I'd rather have more out in the open, right? I'd rather have more things that are out in the open versus compacted together. So that, oh, look, we got this, or look, we filled this space. I don't care about filling space. That's not what I want. I want to be able to enjoy it without it being completely crammed together. And I don't think it was here. So let's talk about the minifigs real quick, and I'll give you my final thoughts. So your window washer dude is in his blue overalls. Nice to have a little window washer guy, I guess. You have a few different museum staff. You have your curator, as I had mentioned. And he's a very white-haired, white-beard gentleman. He has 2 faces. One is just his mouth closed. One is his mouth is open. And his eyebrows are slightly different, furrowed ever so slightly. But I do like his little print that he's got going on, his badge. He's got a bow tie. I love that. And his jacket's kind of cool. I'm a fan of that. Now, your 2 museum workers here have the exact same print. They have blue pants, dark blue pants. And then they have a light blue top, which has a print of a tie and a sweater that they're wearing and their badge. Now, the gentleman here, he's got a face of maybe not so much angry, just kind of like maybe not the happiest dude. He comes with a broom, but if you understand, he's got the broom and he's not the happiest face. Why do you think? He's got to go clean up that mess that somebody left behind. The other face that he has is, have you ever seen somebody's face? I know you have. Have you ever seen somebody's face right before, when they're watching somebody, right before that person does something really dumb or they know there's something bad about to happen? They kind of get this look of like, oh, or somebody's about to get hurt, or somebody's about to drop a $400 Lego set that they just spent 16 hours building onto the floor. That's the look that he has. That is the look that he has. And then our female here that we have, she's kind of got a comforting face to a certain degree, like a compassionate face. And then she's got one where she's a little freaked out too, because I'm sure they just watched that child knock over the vase at the same time. Anyway, so we've got this little kid here. He's wearing a green sweater with some wavy lines on it. Couple of wavy lines. Anybody? Bueller? Anyway, so he's got a super happy face on one side and one where his mouth is agape, and maybe he's not unhappy, but definitely like, oh, just maybe he did it. Or maybe it's the seeing of the Brachiosaurus. And then you have another female here. She's got a white. Why did I say white? She got a white shirt on underneath. Yes. But she has a pink top on, whatever, coat, jacket, shirt. And then her face, she's got which I don't recall if I have seen this face before. I know I have. I'm having trouble placing it. Anyway, she has a mole or birthmark that is on her face, or a freckle, whatever you want to call it here. She's got a smiling face and she's got a suspicious face almost. She comes with a camera. She's got a light azure colored, medium azure pants on, and she has a prosthetic leg from, I guess, what would be her hip down, which is kind of neat. It's one of those, I've only seen these. I want to call it like a spring. It's not a spring. I see it with the Paralympics. People that have prosthetics that run track have these. I don't know what they're called. Anyway, she's got one of those. So that's kind of really neat. I like that. Inclusivity is always important. So you have that. And then our last minifig that we have is of an older lady here, denoted by her gray hair. She's got glasses on, mouth and, or she's smiling on each side, but her eyes are open on one and not on the other. I do like her little sweater vest print. And, if you notice, they're all in kind of like sweaters and stuff like that. It is supposed to be like fall, the falling of the leaves and stuff like that. She has a cookie. She's feeding the two little birds here, or maybe she's not. Maybe they snatched her cookie. Either way, I like that. I thought that was a nice little addition. You always usually have something outside of the modular. I've noticed over the years that is going on, especially that they've kind of gone to more of a modern modular idea, but there's always something going on. It's the little kid getting the paper plane or drone or whatever it was stuck in the tree. There's always something. That came to my mind just because we have another tree build here. So some final thoughts. There wasn't really a spot where I came across the build and I thought, well, that was dumb. I don't really like the way that was done. Or I wish they would have done this differently. It meets everything that a modular should. It's got its multiple floors. It's got many different feels to it based on, different sections of the build, different emotions. I'm a big fan of the exterior on the bottom floor of this. What I mean by that is the fence, even though it was a pain in the butt on my fingers, the foliage and stuff, the statues, it just gives a different curb appeal when you place it in among the other modulars that are out there. It has a 100% different feel. And then the columns in the front just sell it even more. The Brachiosaurus I thought was a great addition, even though, again, I know Tom Jurassic and I, especially him, beat this dead horse of we need more white pieces in these parts so that we can make skeletons and stuff without having all the kind of the weird stuff. But if you've ever looked at a skeleton that is on display, you've got metal supports or whatever in between and stuff like that. So it's not the end of the world, but it would still be kind of cool to get rid of some of those gray pieces and get back to a little bit more of what we'd want. Anyway, so honestly, this is going to be a candidate for set of the year. Without a doubt. this has got to be, I think this knocks the Jazz Club out of the water as far as modulars go, not just because of size, just because of what it has. I think this is as close as you could probably get to a 10 this year without it being a 10. And, maybe I'll stay at 9.5. There's always something that can be improved upon. Like I said, maybe I got to say, one of the things that I wish that was done was when you enter onto the second story, I wish we had some tiling that was on the floor. And I know in other modulars, it's not so much of a thing, but I would have liked to see something like some kind of like rug right in front of the solar system display or something like that. Some kind of design with the tiles there. I that would have been neat. I understand why it's not done, but I think that would have been a cool addition. So yeah, that's going to wrap this up. It was a blast talking about it. I hope you enjoyed it as well. Hopefully you can add it to your wish list, your Christmas list, and celebrate an awesome holiday season wherever you are around the world with your newest modular, the Natural History Museum, and just go celebrate, hey, it's modular season, because that's where it falls. Everybody loves modular season. Anyway, so until we meet again, I'm your minifig host, Matt. Let's build on it.